Tougher than tough, I said you're rougher than rough, Rootsman. Rootsman, Rootsman. Rougher than rough, me say you're tougher than tough, Rootsman. Anyway you go uptown, and anyway you go downtown, them talking about the Rootsman, Rootsman. Rougher than tough, all over the place, Rootsman. Go uptown or you go downtown, everyone them talking the Rootsman, Rootsman, the Rootsman.
Youthman, Rootsman is coming. Look, 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 look,
Greetings, welcome to the show. You're now in tune to the Rootsman. This is WKLR 100 FM, live and direct. Big thanks and respects goes out to DP for the last 2.5 hours or so. And tonight, live and direct on the airways, we have Zion Train from London. And this is the first release from them entitled Power One. You would have heard me playing this one around about 6-8 months ago. I'm going to play a couple of vinyls and then we'll do an interview and then touch in some DAT, dub plates and so on, so keep it locked in.
Culture, strictly education style, played by the Rootsman. Do it. Wicked selection.
Rootsman style. This one happens to be damn versatile, wicked and wild, cause the godless church. Gonna Rootsman.
That's the sounds of Zion Train. Tune that's been kicking up for some time now, track entitled Power 2. And live and direct on the airwaves tonight on WKLR. Zion Train all the way from London town. Yeah, the sounds of Zion Train there, track entitled Power 2. Okay, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight, live and direct, into the studio.
Hello.
We've got Neil and Wallara and Colin C here in the studio. Can you tell us how long you've been together as an act?
Well, we've been together about, 18 months, and we've got a studio, and sort of the music making came out of that, really. We'd done a little bit of music making before that, and then we sort of managed to get a bit of equipment together, so we sort of were able to do it full time, which was quite good.
Right, so what sort of things were you doing before you got together as Zion Train?
Well, Neil had always run a sound system called Zion Train anyway, and I'd been making music which was sort of reggae sort of centred. So we got together and made reggae music.
Right, so how long ago was it when you all
About
came
18
together?
months
About 18
ago.
months ago.
Yeah.
Right. So your first release was Power One. How did that one come together?
Well, it's always been our thing, right, that if you make music, if you have the ability to make music and present music to people, then really it's got to say something, And we'd done this rhythm, and I had this lyric going through my head that I had to find a thing for, and we got it. And basically, the first two singles are meant to go as a pair, Power One and Power Two, and they're just to sort of spell out what the situation is and show what you can do with a positive attitude, So like the chorus for Power Two goes like, a roof over your head and food for yourself and your children. These are the basic human rights of the common man, But it's just a very simple thing, and people have heard it 100 times, but you can't say it often enough because a lot of people aren't listening.
Right. So who was singing on that particular track?
On the
Power
first one, we had a girl called Sister K, but that turned out to be a one-off, and then we found our permanent singer, who's Wallara, who's Nigerian.
Right. So how well did that tune actually do when it was released? Because it just came out on a white label,
Indeed.
7-inch.
Yeah,
how
and
well
we had
did it
no
do?
background, no one knew who we were, and this tune just came out, and it went, we were really pleased with it. Got a really good reception. Got a lot of people said it had a Shaka feel, which always helps, But he's been a big influence, and I'm sure he's been a big influence on anyone making
Did
reggae
Shaka
music.
pick up on the tune and was he
Yeah.
running it down there in London and so on?
Which helped, and also more on Power 2, which he's been playing. In fact, he plays at 45, because the bass line pumps out when he plays it,
That's right. I mean, if you've been to a Shaka dance, Shaka runs the tune at the wrong speed, and
The crowd goes
I
wild.
don't think
though.
anybody notices, do
Yeah,
they?
they've been playing it now for about 9 months, and still playing it, and he canes it, So I'm not moaning.
Right, on the label of Power One, it says recorded at the Wibbly Wobbly studio. How did you get that name together?
Well, before we were doing stuff together, I used to run a club scene called Wibbly Wobbly World of Music, which was like a sort of rave thing where you would have a band, have a reggae sound system, and then have like a house DJ, and sort of you went in and there was massage and brain machines and stuff like that. So that was called Wibbly Wobbly World, and then when I set up the studio, I just kept the name,
Right.
and no one forgets it.
Right. So can you tell us about the studio that the setup that you've got down there in London?
Yeah, right. We've got like an Apple Mac computer with like Vision software. So we use like a JD800 M1 and an S950 sampler. We've got a Studio Master desk, like 20 input desk. So we master it all straight down onto DAT, and we just use an 8-track for vocals.
Right.
But it's quite a nice, tidy setup. It's very good, flexible.
So after Power One, you went on to Power Two. How successful was that one in
That was-
comparison to the first one?
Well, the first one we came from nowhere, and people liked the tune. But the second one, that we were a bit more established, so they watched the second one come out, and then it just went. And then Shaka picked up on it, and then just, it's the same old story,
Yeah, because a lot of people, when they first heard it, like on the radio, think, well, yeah, it's a good tune, but nothing too out of the ordinary. And you go to a dance and put it on, everybody goes completely mental,
Yeah. And we learnt a lot from that as well, because we were doing that sort of dum, 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 sort of slower thing. And then we felt you can keep the energy and keep the feel of a roots tune, but you can actually increase the mood of the tune, or the tempo of the tune.
Right.
So in fact, Shaka playing it fast has led to a lot of the things that you're going to hear later on, because it's created a style that it was ours, and then he converted it, and now we've made the most of it,
Right. We're going to run a track off the CD that you've got available, haven't you? We'll talk a bit more about the CD in a little while. Do you want to introduce this track now?
Yeah,
that we're
this
gonna
tune's called Rage. Right, and it's about Africa and Africans, because everyone is from Africa, no matter what. Everyone must be free.
that's the sounds of Zion Train taken off a CD. Do you want to tell us about what that one's all about, Colin?
It was mixed at the studio, Wibbly Wobbly World, and it's a sort of collection of hippie, house, new age, raver people, yeah. So there's like dub on it, house, ambient music, techno, you know, whatever, a whole lot.
Right, and what's the title of that CD?
Right, the CD is called Shamaniki in the UK. It's on Evolution Records, and a big shout has to go out to Rick Davey, without whom it would not have been possible, you know.
Right, and I've actually seen this CD in our price, so people can go and buy this.
Yeah,
one,
and it's a wicked
in the area.
investment. There's some good ideas on it, you know. Ideas is what it's all about.
Yeah, well, this station has a very big rave following, so I'm sure those type of people would be interested in that. Definitely.
Yeah, wicked.
Right, can you tell us what particular artists and people have influenced you in the music that you make?
Yeah, well, a few people, obviously, like Shaka, more recently, and obviously people like Augustus Pablo, Lee Perry, all the old-timers, Cox and Dodd, obviously. You know, all sorts of people, really, but not just reggae music, all sorts of things.
Right, what sort of people around on the scene at the moment you particularly think are like the people who are like leading the way, producing the best music right now?
The best music now, people like Bobby Condas is producing good music. But Roots music side, it still has to be Shaka and Keaty Roots, Conscious Sounds, Dougie, Alpha and Omega, people like that, you know.
Yeah, and of course you're part of that whole setup as well.
Yeah, well, the whole thing, Dennis Blackamex as well, Riz, all sorts of people, really.
Come to think of it, why you've mentioned those artists, a lot of the people involved in putting out Roots music now in the UK have all come together, haven't they, and formed an organisation. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, we've got a thing going called Forward Roots, which we're going to launch as a cassette featuring 2 tracks from each artist involved, which comes out about 29 tunes altogether with dubs, and be on sale for £5, and a wicked investment.
So when's that actually going to come out?
Probably next couple of months, but it'll be just Forward Roots compilation.
Right, well, what we should do is should give away a couple of copies of that on the
we'll have a
radio
couple
and
of
then
copies
get
of it,
some copies distributed up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
Right, you've got another tune lined up, another plastic, before we move into the dub plates selection, which is going to run for most of the show. What one are you going to run now for us?
This is Jah Holds the Key, which we did. It's originally Studio One, Devon Russell and Cox and Dodd producing, but Devon Russell came to us, wanted to redo a few old tunes, so it's the first one we did with him. Jah Holds the Key, Devon Russell with Zion Train.
Yeah, regular listeners will know this one, because this is one of the most killer tunes from this year.
Writings on the wall, yes.
black teeth, gold teeth. This happens to be the Rootsman. See?
Babylon, your kingdom has fallen. Writings on the wall, yes. Babylon, your kingdom done falling. Writings on the wall, yes. Babylon, your kingdom done falling. Life is like a good book, volume 3.
Zion Train selection with the sounds of Devon Russell on the lead vocals. Been playing this one for quite some time now. Jar Holds the Key. Out on a white label 7-inch. 7 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. You're in tune to the Rootsman. Live and direct in the studio from London Way. Zion Train. Up and coming roots and culture and other music artists. Devon Russell, he's one of the greats, isn't he, within the reggae business, for those who know reggae music. How did you manage to hook up with him to start some things?
Alright, it's bizarre, but I mean, you're right, he is one of the greats, but he's one of the sort of critics' choices, do you know what I mean? He's done some fine music with Studio One since the 60s.
Yeah, he's one of those people who makes critically brilliant records at times, but don't sell.
Yeah,
is that right?
indeed.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we're hoping to change all that, you know what I mean? Basically, with the studio, there's a tailor who works in the same building, and he knew Devon, and Devon came round to visit him, and he sent him in the room to see us, you know. And he just we played him some tunes, and he liked what he heard, so it came from that, you know.
Was Jar Holds the Key the first tune you did together?
No, we did a few earlier tunes, and we're going to run a few of those later on, you know.
Right, and I hear you've got plans to do an album.
Yeah, we're going to do like an album, 6 tracks, 6 dubs, you know. We're going to do Jar Holds the Key, a Devon tune called Newfound Heaven, which he's been doing for about 20 years. And
that's another studio one. That's
yeah.
one in my box at home. That
Indeed.
One, yeah.
Well, he believes now that the version we've cut is... He said he'd been singing it for 20 years, and the version we've cut is the one that he's had in his head for 20 years, so... Right. And we'll be playing it later, you know.
And what other tracks are you going to do with him?
We want to do Mix Up, you know, Bongo Red, the old Gladiators tune. And then there's like 3 more originals. So.
Right. And you're doing Truths and Rights, the Johnny Osborne
Oh,
track as well.
yeah. Indeed. It's about time, you know. The thing is, these messages and this key to the music, you know, is what it's all about. And what we're doing is we're presenting a fresh edge on it you know, bringing a different thing to roots music, but it's the same current of thought, you know, the same consciousness going through it all.
I mean, you know, some people might think, oh, well, they're going to go over and do Truths and Rights, and it's like sacrilege to like cover a classic. But if you're working with somebody who was there in those days, that's not no joke artist, but like, you know, one of the great artists in the business, then you know, you can cut a version that's going to be like,
well,
stinging,
indeed.
can't you?
And the thing is, if you're doing it with some heart, you know, if you're cutting up a reggae tune and putting it in with a breakbeat and trying to get a top 10 hit, then, you know, that's not good.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with some heart, and we are, with some conviction, you know, and then we have the quality of using Devon Russell, then I think, you know, we can have a go at these things.
What other artists have you been working with?
Well, in the past, like, through Devon, we met up with Barry Brown, legendary 70s singer, you know, like, classic singer, and we cut a few sides with him, and we don't know what we're going to do with that, but, you know, there's some music there, and there'll be some tonight, you know.
Right. Have you recut some of Barry Brown's classics?
No, that
like,
was all original stuff we did, you know. He wanted to get on a different thing, so that's what we did.
Some people say that he hasn't cut many records recently because he has like hearing problems or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Is there any truth to those sort of rumours?
He's a fine singer, you know, and he has a fine like heart, but at times now he's losing a little bit, which isn't good. So rather than do anything that might embarrass someone, you know what I mean, it's better to sort of take the best bits. What we have tonight to play you is the best bits, and that may still come out. You know what I mean? But it's harder to get stuff out of him than it was before. That's what I'm going to say. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, in the 70s, he was like turning out songs like,
oh yeah, he was
nobody's
Paul,
business.
You know?
Yeah. Right. What other? You've been working with Culture as well. Is that
well,
right?
we did a thing in London with Culture, where we sort of like set up the thing and sort of ran the sound, and that was quite a nice thing. You know, Joseph Hill, fine singer, fine performance as well. And then before that, we did some stuff with Big Youth in Belgium, which was quite a buzz. You know, it was like a big open air festival. Yeah. 10,000 people, and then live on Belgian Radio 1. We were mixing it, you know, and dubbing it up, so it was really nice.
Sounds great. So you've obviously like established your credentials now with working with some of these artists.
Well,
you know?
yeah.
Is there any artist that you really would particularly want to work with, you know, in the future?
Well, you know, there's some people like Dennis Brown would be a nice man to work with, or Janet Kay, because I do believe that Janet Kay has one of the finest voices, you know. And just she hasn't been given the material. Yeah. So to put Janet Kay back on Roots, you know, and obviously Muller, we believe has the potential to be a fine singer. Yeah. So we're working on that as well. We're finding our own identity, and the fact that these other people want to work with us gives us confidence, because it then sort of, you know, that lets us know that we're doing something right. Because if we're on the same groove they were on back then, you know, and they're still saying that's good, then that's, you know, helps us out.
And the good thing is that the music you're making is not like a revivalist type thing. You might have updated some people's old musics, which you can't get a lot of the time now, but they have the 1992 or the year 2000 like type style.
Yeah, so, indeed, you know. Indeed. Well, that's what we want to do. You know, we want to give it something now. It's like I spoke to Mikey Bennett, the producer from Jamaica, yeah, and he said that what he's doing with his music is he's making the tunes that he's always loved, but he's using the sounds that people today hear. If you walk in a games arcade, or if you wander around, or you're holding a Game Boy or whatever, you got those sounds, they're in your lexicon of sound, yeah? So we're using that in conjunction with some very old and fine sentiments, and hopefully that's what we're putting together.
I think that's the key to it all. I mean, that's the sort of philosophy where I'm coming from with the radio and all that type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So while we're on this particular subject, what do you actually feel about the reggae music right now? You know, where's it going?
I think the worst thing about reggae music right now, right, even if you look at the front cover of ID this month, you're getting a lot of people who are getting into ragga for some reason other than anything positive. Do you know what I mean? They're saying, oh, this is a cool thing, you know. You know, there has always been a reference in English fashion to what black people have been doing at any given time, whether it's R&B, funk, disco, or whatever, right? And now the flavour of the month is ragga. And what these people are doing, which I think is dangerous, is they're avoiding some of the really overt sentiments in the ragga music, which is just destructive. Yeah. What we hope to do is put a positive message. If you have a platform, and in the way the world is today, you don't say something positive, then I believe that is abuse of whatever you have, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the cover of ID, you know, I seen it in news agents the other day, and it has a little Kingston report, like the sort of New Musical Express used to do in the 70s, Shabba Ranks and blah, 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 blah. But really, it's no different to what it's always been like with the, you know, they always talk about, oh, this is going to be the year of reggae and stuff like that, but all they do is just look on something that seems to be the fashionable thing, and try and make the fashionable thing the thing for like English people or whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, it's not reggae music isn't a fashion music, and you know we want
Well,
people
that's the
to
thing.
listen to reggae music and be there at the long
Indeed.
term.
And that's the side we're on, you know. We're not in the quick buck business. We're doing this music because we love this music. And if anyone out there is listening and loves this music, then we've done the right thing, you know. If one person out there loves what we're doing, then it's fine. So the more people that come back and go, yeah, that's wicked, then the more we'll carry on.
What particular future plans have you got then over the next year or two?
Right, what we have, right, I don't know, the next tune we're going to play, right, is our third single is Zion Train, which is called Follow Like Wolves, and it's taking dub into a slightly different direction. We're putting like loops in it and creating a slightly different vibe, and this comes off the Shaka playing it at different speeds, or hearing our Asian Steppers, or hearing Smith and Mighty, you know what I mean? The possibilities of applying some of the house and stuff things to dub without diluting the dub, but with strengthening it, you know. It's like almost like Adrian Sherwood has been doing something that is on the sidelines and is in between everything, and like reggae people won't call it dub, and you know everyone else does. Well, what we're trying to do is forge a thing like that with house, yeah. So we're getting the two together. So you got the intensity and power, but the ruler of all our music is the bass line, you know.
Yeah. I think the best thing about when you mix dub music with house, when people who have come from the roots reggae standpoint, they do it properly. But when you've got people who make house records and thought, oh, let's go and do a dub track, it sounds crap at the end of the day because they don't really know the foundation.
Well, the thing is, I'm not making
a
a house tune. We're never making a house tune. We're making a dub tune. We're just saying, oh, what does this sound like with it? You know what I mean? I think we should give them Follow Like Wolves. So this makes a bit of sense.
Right, here we go then. Follow 33. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Right, Follow Like Wolves.
Tune.
Follow Like Wolves. This is the sounds of Zion Train once again. Dub meets house. Live and direct here on WKLR.
No different style.
Follow like sheep in a wolf cloth.